Hello, this is Kehan. Welcome to episode 29 of my life journey. In this episode, I want to continue from where I left off about the importance of choosing a role model and putting their picture in our rooms so we can see them every day. One thing that I didn't afford time to talk about is that when we say we need to have a role model, this does not mean that this person is complete or perfect. Simply a complete person, human being, does not exist on planet Earth. So, what we mean is that we need to find somebody who carries and has most of the traits and qualities that we need right now, that we need to develop or be working on at this stage of our lives. Uh, so, this is very important because the qualities that we may need right now in this stage may vary in 5 years. In a few years, we might need some other qualities. For example, now we are focusing on discipline and some like financial success. In 5 10 years we may need more, courage, mindfulness, maybe leadership, or any type of quality. Maybe we need to work on different skills like how to develop a family, relationships. And in those times, our role model may change too, and that's totally fine. It's just part of the process. So the message for this episode is that uh, we need to find somebody who carries most of the traits that we need at this stage of our lives. And having a role model does not mean that this person is complete and we are going to copy them for the rest of our lives. No, it's just that we want to use this as a tool for this stage of life, and at the same time keep learning from others. Uh, you know, being open to add new qualities, good qualities from every other person. As I discussed in the previous episode, the reason we have this role model is not to just admire them or wish we were them. We use this role model for imagination and identity. The role model I chose is Pavel Durov, founder of Telegram. Let's hear a bit from him.
I've seen you be, once again, quite stoic about your emotions. You ever get angry? You ever get lonely? You ever get sad? The roller coaster of human emotion. And what do you do with that when you make difficult decisions?
I'm a human being like everybody else. I do get to experience emotions, and some of them are not very pleasant. But I believe that it's the responsibility of every one of us to cope with these emotions and to learn to work through them. Self discipline is particularly important because without it, how can you overcome this seemingly endless loop of negativity or despair that ultimately leads to depression for some people? I normally never have depression. I don't remember having depression in the last 20 years at least, maybe when I was a teenager. But one of the reasons for that is I start doing things. I identify the problem, I can see a solution, and I start executing the strategy. If you are stuck in this loop of being worried about something, nothing's ever going to change. And people often make this mistake thinking, oh, I should just have some rest and then regain energy. This is not how it works. You gain energy by doing something. So you start doing something, then it happens. You feel motivated, you feel inspired. And then ultimately you do something else, a little bit more, a little bit more. And in a few years, who knows, you may end up achieving great things.
You have been working out for many years pretty intensively. So I think a lot of people would love to know what's your perfect daily workout regimen. Let's say on a weekly basis.
I do 300 push ups and 300 squats every morning. And in addition to that, I go to the gym normally 5-6 times a week, spending between 1 and 2 hours every day.
So push-ups and squats are still a big part of your routine.
Yes, this is how I start my day. I'm not sure they do a lot in terms of changing your body, but they're definitely a good way to practice self-discipline, because you don't want to do these push-ups in the morning most of the days. Squats are particularly boring. They're not that hard. They're just boring. But you overcome it, and then it's much easier to start doing other things related to your work, for example. When I can, I also take an ice bath because it's another exercise of self-discipline. I think the main muscle you can exercise is this muscle, the muscle of self-discipline. Not your biceps or your pecs or anything else. Because if you get to train that one, everything else just comes by itself.
And everything else becomes easy.
The reason I chose him is that when I look at him, he gives me this feeling that, he has all these great traits and qualities that I personally connect and relate to: strength and completeness. Not only, I mean, he's not only great financially and about, business. He represents being great at physical health, care for body, care for mind, care for thoughts. He is a very thoughtful person. Uh, you know, education, some leadership, disciplined, highly, disciplined and driven, motivated. Uh, what else? Like, oh, one of the greatest things that I really admire is independence in thinking and acting. Your decisions. His decisions seems like they all come really from him, and from his experience and his knowledge, not from anywhere else. So, these are all great things that I need right now. But this does not mean I see him as a perfect person. He might have some flaws in other aspects too. We're not here to judge anybody, but you know, family wise, I would not say he represents a great example. And that's fine. This is like a pattern that we see in most of these successful entrepreneurs and CEOs and successful people, and they may be great at vision in leadership, their career, but they may be weak in allocating and dedicating like enough attention and care and time to their children, partner, and so on. But that's totally fine. As I said, we don't want to choose a perfect person, and it's totally fine if they have most of the traits that we need at this stage of our lives.
We swam the length of a large lake in France a couple times. Can you talk through why you value these multi-hour swims?
Yeah, I left swimming for hours. The longest I swam was 5.5 hours in Finland. It was quite cold. I got lost in the process, barely could find my way back. But the reason I do it, yes, you feel great after. You're shaking a little bit, you feel great after. You cross a huge lake, and I cross many lakes: Geneva Lake, Zurich Lake. And every time you feel this achievement, which makes you happy, makes you feel strong. And then you're more ready to other challenges. And of course, when you know you're going to start a journey that will last a few hours, you're reluctant to do it. But you swim for 10 minutes, and then for 20 minutes, and then for 30 minutes. And it teaches you this incredible patience that I think is necessary if you want to achieve anything in life.
And it's pretty meditative. Lake versus ocean.
Yes, and you don't have to go too fast.
Yeah.
You can be slow and enjoy the moment.
For a moment, I was thinking that why shouldn't I choose the richest person in the world? Why shouldn't I choose Elon Musk? Or, you know, choose from top 10 richest people in the list? But the point is not that, the point is not who is who is the most famous or like uh, most validated in the eyes of everybody, eyes of the world. No, 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 that's not it. It's a very personal thing. You need to really search for it and find that person carefully, who suits you. Maybe it's the richest person, I don't know, but maybe it's not. So the question is, uh, who does align with the person I want to become right now at this time? And at the same time, we have to also stay open. This does not mean that we are just going to close our eyes from everybody else and like mimic this person. No, no, no. This is not that. This is not it. Every person is, has worked on some certain qualities and they're strong and great at them. One person may be a great athlete, one may be a great musician, one may be a great teacher, one may be a great, parent or like partner. Uh, one may be the greatest monk in the world. What I mean is everybody has something to offer. Everybody has maxed out uh, some quality that can benefit us if we stay open and be willing to learn from them. So I think here the right approach is we choose one role model as the center, as the main direction that we want to go, but at the same time we stay like humble to learn from everybody, even worst people on planet Earth. I mean, don't neglect this point. We don't need to learn always from people who did great. We also need to learn from people who really did bad, did the worst. Because I learned lots of things from the worst people in my life, and worst people I read about in history. Uh, because because you can understand what you should not be, what you should not become, by observing them. And those are very great examples. They just show you what you uh, don't want to be, and without them, the right quality, the other side of the thing doesn't become very vivid and clear for you. So I hope I could transfer to you all this, valuable insights that I got from my life coach and from my own experience. In the next episode, I want to move on from this topic and talk about what happens when somebody really changes so much internally and feels very distant from their old self, old identity. And when they feel this strange loneliness, when they look around, because other people are the same, they're not like you on a, growth journey, and the feedback you may get from outside most of the times is not constructive, is not supporting. So how do we stay stubborn, resilient, keep it going? How do we prevent uh, negativity from creeping into our lives? So these are very important questions that are open. I hope we can address some of them in the next episode. It's great that you're still on this path, and I really appreciate that. Congratulations, and keep it going strongly. Have a great time. See you.